You're lying in the dark, but the bed feels crowded. You're right next to your partner, yet there is an invisible wedge between you. Usually when we feel this kind of disconnect, we look around for a physical rival. But there is no coworker she's texting late at night, and there's no real-world threat actively trying to pull her away. Your rival exists as a curated memory, a silent phantom haunting your current intimacy from within her own head. You are competing with a ghost. To understand why this happens, we must look at an invisible measuring stick known as the internal benchmark. This diagram represents a timeline of a romantic history, where bright nodes of past experience combine to form a glowing, elevated baseline. The human brain is a meticulous accountant. It logs every intense emotional or sexual peak a person has ever had. Every thrill, every chaotic high flashes onto this mental scorecard and pushes the baseline higher. When a new, steady relationship forms, the brain subconsciously measures it against that elevated standard. The current partner's performance and passion are plotted on the timeline, constantly reaching for that artificially high mark and inevitably falling short. This sudden, unexplained lack of intimacy is rarely a failure of your effort or your masculinity. You're simply facing the impossible task of measuring up to a heavily edited memory. Relationships inevitably mature. The initial spark settles into a routine, and a couple enters the secure, predictable, and committed phase of their lives together. But the human brain is a comparative machine. The moment its environment feels entirely safe and routine, it gets restless. It actively searches its own archives for those past peak experiences. It is crucial to draw a line here. Your partner is rarely sitting there missing the actual person from their past. The ex themselves is largely irrelevant. What they are actually longing for is the feeling. They miss the nervous energy, the raw edge, and the sheer unpredictability that accompany those earlier moments. This sets up a harsh reality. A reliable partner offering a stable life inherently loses a direct comparison against the highlight reel of the past, because you cannot engineer the thrill of unpredictability out of pure stability. Often, the specific ghost taking up space in the bedroom is the archetype of the unstable, toxic ex, the classic bad boy. This graph shows the neuroscience behind toxic dynamics. High-stress relationships violently fluctuate emotional states. These sharp peaks and valleys represent erratic dopamine spikes. Replaced by a healthy dynamic, a reliable man creates a smooth, gently undulating line. The chemical baseline remains steady, but the brain makes a fatal misinterpretation here. Because it grew so accustomed to intense chemical highs, it equates the calm of a secure attachment with boredom or a complete lack of passion. The ghost holds an unfair advantage. It exists in a vacuum, perfectly insulated from the daily friction of mortgages, raising children, and the exhausting adult responsibilities that you actively manage. The chaotic ex acted as a drug, and you act as the medicine. The resulting sexual disinterest is the outward symptom of a brain in chemical withdrawal, craving the drug of the past while resisting the stability of the present. Because this comparison is almost never spoken aloud, it bleeds into the relationship in subtle ways. It manifests as a sudden emotional withdrawal or a constant low-level hum of chronic criticism. For the male partner on the receiving end, the psychological toll is heavy. You are left with a persistent sense of inadequacy, certain you are falling short but unable to pinpoint why. This triggers the performance trap. Out of instinct, a man will try to compensate by mimicking the aggressive, dangerous traits he suspects the ghost possessed. Putting on that act accelerates the death of intimacy. Trying to perform a version of masculinity you think she wants strips away your actual strengths, making you look desperate and remarkably inauthentic. Breaking the vicious cycle requires a fundamental shift in perspective. You win by simply refusing to play the game. Stepping fully into your own grounded identity is the only way forward. You own your stability and your reliability without apology, and without any attempt to overcompensate for a memory. You cannot fight a ghost by imitating it. Victory is achieved by remaining so deeply rooted in your own frame that the memory of the past loses its power entirely. You must stay grounded. Stay a man.